So we want to be learning Le'ilu Nishmas, Razel Bas Aharon and Dov ben Avram. And those are the parents of Marcel.
Who's right here.
Yeah.
You won't have to mute me now. I'll just.
Well, it's okay. The good thing is Marcel, Rebbetzin Silber can just say, Marcel, just mute yourself.
I'm going to mute myself.
How stunningly beautiful. Really, really beautiful. And what an honor to have you there with Rebbetzin Silber for all of us. And also just once again, please, Yaakov Yeshai ben Nomi for Refuah Shalema, and Nomi's mother, Nechama bat Yochevet Chana for Refuah Shalema. And also please, Bela Bas Chaya, who is really the person that I can say that I learned in practice so much of my Yiddishkeit from wonderful Auntie Bela, and she should just really have a refuah shalema. She has a granddaughter's wedding in South Africa in November, and I really want to be able to dance with her there, the Ezra Hashem.
Naomi, did it work on Monday? Was he successful? So tell me afterwards what happened, okay? No, it's gonna, no matter what time. Every time I saw the shear, something goes on outside. Okay, so is the sound okay? Can you hear me okay? You can't.
It's a bit shaky. Anybody else found that?
Okay, what about like this? Is it
That's better.
Okay, so
Yeah, that's better.
I'll just sit close.
Are we getting our Tehillim, or we?
Yeah, you're getting at your Tehillim, but you're going to put it on the side because I have a lot of other things before we get to Tehillim. Okay, so don't rush to get the Tehillim out. First of all, I want to, 1 second, she's not on yet. So let her get on. 1 second. So, go on the share. Somebody is trying to dedicate a share also. I don't know where she is. Okay, so first of all, for the next while, I'm also dedicating the shir to Rochel Bas Bunya Masha and her precious husband, Peretz Moshe ben Chana Esther. Should be a merit for them and a merit for the family of Chaya and Eliyahu Frischman. And for a full Shlema for Sarah Bas Shira for Shlema. And Le'ili Nishmas, this is an amazing story. One of the ladies who comes on the shir, she's not on yet, but she just told me that today is her father-in-law passed away, and the Levaya is in America today, and her daughter's bas mitzvah is in Israel today. So her husband had to go to his father's funeral now, and the daughter's having the bas mitzvah. So she also wants to say the name Chaim Leib ben Azriel Aaron Halevi. He should have an Elias Neshama, and Lahavdil, her daughter Tamima Bas Yehuda's Batya, should have a mazel tov on her bas mitzvah.
Amen.
Life, right?
Amen. Amen. There's just one other thing. I sent you that message before. I wanted to ask you what you thought about it with the hair covering. But either way, I also wanted that we should add for Refuah Shalema for Rafael Chaim Meir ben Sima Chasha, who is this young little baby who is in a coma after drowning last week.
Ooh. Yeah.
I sent you a message and what they've asked for. Did you see that? So I didn't know how appropriate it is in the Zechus to ask for the day. Maybe on this group, it would be more appropriate to make sure that everybody keeps their hair covered properly today. And those that don't normally cover, maybe just for the day, and maybe even just in their homes, to put some kind of hair covering on in the Zechus of the Refuah of Rafael Chaim Meir ben Sima Chasha. But I want to know your thoughts on that.
Yeah, well, you just said it, so it's fine. So Yehuda Bati just got on, so we just said your whole story. Tamima Bat Yehuda's Bati should have a mazel tov, and your father, Lahavdil in front of your father Chaim Real Aaron Levi should have a good Gan Eden. He's not yet, still in that middle stage.
Oh, you can't. The only problem with our block is that you've got to own your flat. You can't.
Everybody you have to mute everybody now.
That's not me, that's Devorah Hindel.
No. Devorah Hindel, everybody has to mute herself.
Lady that asked to admit, I think, go Lily, that's what I was referring to so much.
Thank
you
you, Rebbetzin. Thank you so much.
Okay, so yeah, we do need, please, Devorah Hinder. You'll just mute, my love.
That's why it's never changed. Yeah, it's still like that. Yeah. It's still like that.
Can't hear.
I'm going to call her, it's fine, she can't hear. She
Yeah.
might have had to pick up a medical call, which is one of the things. She's a nurse, and
So you can't mute everybody.
you know what? I have to put it permanently on because there's a number that one needs to
it's a
sign
list.
in, and the person has signed me in.
There's a list. Both our one block and the other block, both blocks. Yeah,
Devorah Hinder.
yeah, two. Yeah.
The host should
Donna,
be
Donna,
able to mute everyone. The
Donna,
host.
yeah, I know, but the problem is that the person who runs my screen isn't here with us. She's teaching, and I have not been given proper access, and I don't know how to work these things. There we go.
Sorry, Miriam, I'm just on a
Donna. Oh, yeah, I know, but she was muted, and probably when there we go. Okay, let's
And
go.
the phones, the
And we
telephones,
need the phones also muted, everybody.
the telephones,
Let me just see if I can get it again now, if she answers.
the telephones have to mute themselves if they can. If they cannot, they have to just not move, because anytime the phone moves even, it makes.
Yeah,
noise.
actually, this sounds much better right now.
Okay, very good.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, so now we have a lot to accomplish today. First of all, next Thursday, we're not going to have a shir because next Thursday is Erev Shavuos. And so we have to do the pre-Shavuos shir now. And we have to remember that Shavuos is the birthday and the yard site of David HaMelech, who we've been studying his works all these years, right? So the custom on Shavuos about Tehillim, just to review this so people remember it, the custom for the men is that they stay up all night learning. They go to shul, every shul in every community has its different arrangements. Nowadays, the girls also have learning at night for an hour, or if you're in seminary, forgive me that I'm not looking at you. If you're in seminary, they have an all-night learning, then they walk to the kotel, and they daven at the kotel, and then they go up to the old city, and they have kiddush there, and then the girls drag themselves back to wherever, and then they sleep for the next few days, which is such a funny thing to do. And every year on Shavuos, I'm always mitlabetting. Avigail, it's so good to have you on. Every year Shavuos, I'm always back and forth, because on one hand, it's a very big thing to stay up all night, to fix the fact that by Matan Torah, the original Matan Torah, we didn't stay up all night. Could you imagine if we knew Mashiach is coming? Let's say we know Mashiach is coming tomorrow morning, bright and early. Would you sleep tonight? I don't know that I could sleep. Or maybe we would, I don't know what we would do. But whatever it is, the night before Matan Torah, the giving of the Torah, we fell asleep a little bit. So to fix that, we stay up. The only problem is that our bodies are really, really weak compared to olden days. And so when we stay up all night, then we're sleeping the rest of the day. Everybody will do whatever it is that they feel like doing. But I do want to recommend to you that you say Tehillim as much as you can, because Tehillim is the life's work of King David, and that's his yard site. So when people do for a yard site, when they do something for the Lili Nishmas, so it's very wonderful to give tzedakah. When you sponsor a shir, you're giving charity. And when you're giving charity, that goes to the merit of the soul of the person who's in Shamayim who can't give charity anymore. It's a very, very big thing to sponsor a shir in memory of people. What are your parents' names? Rachel Bas Aaron.
Dov ben Avraham.
And Dov ben
Ben Avraham David.
and Dov ben Avram David. So Lili Nishmasam and Lili Nishmas, your father-in-law. So it's a big thing for them. But even bigger, or at least as big, is in addition to giving money, giving charity, is to behave in a way that mimics and copies their excellent behavior. So for example, if on the yard side of somebody, let's say they were the ones like Rebbetzin Dov just said, her aunt, she should be well. Her aunt was the one who was, strengthened her Yiddishkeit. So to give her a merit, so you would pick out which thing did my aunt teach me the most, and then copy that. And when you copy that, you're actually giving merit to that person. Now that person's alive now. Let's say you're doing a Lili Nishmas. So Lili Nishmas, to uplift the soul of a person who passed. So let's say your father taught you chesed, and let's say your mother taught you humility. So on each of their yard sites, you would actually try your best to do chesed, to do humility. And that's really a powerful zuchus, a powerful merit for them. So on Shavuos, next week, you have 2 days to as much Tehillim as you can. At night, in the day, in the middle of the day, whenever you can, grab another parak of Tehillim. And since we've been learning, so try to say the Tehillims that you're connected to, not the ones that are obscure that you haven't learned yet, but the ones that you're connected to. Okay, now I want to tell you that today is the last day of Yesod, and we're starting the week of Malchus. It's a very powerful week of davening. So don't stop. Today's Malchus of Yesod. We have really 8 days because today's the Malchus, the final day of the 6th week. And then tomorrow's the first day of the 7th week. The 7th week, the entire week is Malchus. And today's the Malchus aspect of Yesod. So we have 8 days. It's the only sphere that we have like that. 8 days of Malchus. Malchus means praying, talking with your mouth. And in every action that you do, thinking about Hashem and thinking, is this the Ratzon Hashem? What does Hashem want me to do? Is this the Ratzon Hashem? So they sent around a very sweet clip of a bunch of little boys, maybe there's like 10-year-olds here in Eretz Yisrael, a little class, and they all went to the Yanuka, and they wanted to say Ba'al Peh their Mishnayos. That little kids have an incredible skill to learn by heart. I remember when I was a little kid, they used to make us learn by heart, and I didn't like it. But I want to tell you that I remember by heart when I was in elementary school, where we had to learn the first parak of Yeshaya by heart. We had to learn all the things that we had to learn by heart, and I remember it. You have to mute yourself, Shoshana. So they were trying to impress the Yanuka by showing his, and you see he's sitting there kvelling, he's sitting there smiling. Now, he doesn't smile so easily and so often because he's very, very focused, but he got such hana. Shoshana, sweetie pie, you have to mute yourself if you can. Shoshana Kaplan, thank you.
I'm trying. I don't know what to press.
If you see the microphone, if you can see the microphone, just tap on that microphone and a little red line will go through it.
Or else,
Okay, where it says recording.
At
can
the
I just
bottom.
push-
No, not
Oh.
by recording. At the bottom, it should have a little sign there's a mute of a video and a mute of a microphone.
okay, do the best that you can. Doesn't
Okay,
matter.
thank you.
Quietly. So, and I don't like to tell people to be quiet, but so anyway, he's listening to them saying Mishnayos and he's smiling, and one kid in this group made a mistake. He caught it and he said, "Oh, you should start a few words before you." Anyway, then a little boy, and then they all, he gave each one a gift, whatever it was. I couldn't see what he was giving out. And then one little boy, and they were hurrying them up because that's how it is by him, because it's very hard to get to him, and it's very hard to get even a second with him. If you do, you're incredibly gifted and lucky. Anyway, so one little boy held on to him, and he stuck his head into close, and he asked him, Kvod Harav, in Hebrew, honorable rabbi, what should I do to make sure that I'm fulfilling my purpose in this world? This is a little 10-year-old. I was shocked when I heard that. So, and his teacher tried to push him that he shouldn't bother. And the Rab said, let him stay. And he said to him, he leaned over and he said to him, always ask Hashem, what's my purpose? And when you think you're doing your purpose, you should know that you're not. Just keep asking every day for the rest of your life. He said, always ask Hashem, what do you want me to do? What's my purpose now? What's the tachlis? What's my job? What's your ratzon? What's your desire for me, Hashem, to do right now? And he said, don't stop your whole life always asking. Then you know you'll be doing you'll be fulfilling your tafkid, your job in this world. When you keep asking Hashem, what should I do? And then you do what you think you're supposed to do. Then you're always tuned into Hashem. So that's called Malchus also. Malchus means always asking Hashem, what do you want me? What do you want from me now? What can I do for you now, Hashem? What can I help with? Always talking to Hashem all the time. It's not like, okay, Hashem, and now I know I'm supposed to cook for Shabbos. So now what? What are you supposed to cook for Shabbos? Okay, so, and even if you think you know what you're supposed to do, keep asking. That's the word, that's the week of Malchus. That's number one. Number two, checking our behavior, that everything that we do is according to Jewish law. Now, I'm privileged to teach Balas Tshuva my whole life. And I don't like to tell people what to do. And because I find that when you tell someone what to do, sometimes they're not ready for it, and sometimes they get a little bit annoyed. One time I had now she's a big tzaddikus, and she's a bunch of kids, married, and she's Persian, she lives in Great Neck, New York. And she decided she wants to go after high school. Instead of coming to Eretz Yisrael, she wasn't able to. She's going to go to seminary in Brooklyn. Anyone ever heard of Brooklyn, New York? Brooklyn, New York. So very religious. So she went to seminary, and so she went to a real good seminary. I taught her she came from a Baal Tshuva high school. So she came back, all of a sudden she appears in my classroom in the afternoon, and she's all angry. This is a wonderful girl. And she said, I have to talk to you now. I was in the middle of teaching high school, right? I was in the middle of teaching. And it was the beginning of the year. Anyway, what is she saying to me? She says to me in front of all the girls, she said, why didn't you tell me how long sleeves have to be? I didn't know that it has to cover your elbow. I thought it has to be till the elbow. Now, I'm not saying halacha right now. I'm just telling you a story that happened. I'm not saying the halacha. So I said to her, if I would have told you that you have to cover your elbow, would you have gone to seminary? Then she said, no. And if I would have told you that you have to cover your elbow, would you have liked that? And she said, no. So I said, now you know why I didn't tell you. Now you found out yourself. Now you can choose, but I'm not going to be I don't do that. That's not my thing to do, to tell people, do this, do that. Maybe I should do that more often. Maybe I should. With certain things, that are dangerous, like, there's a car coming, get out of the way, or etc. Everybody knows, ladies, you know what you're supposed to do. There's enough halacha online that you can learn every single law about Jewish dress, Shabbos, Taras Mishpacha, Shmir Salashon, all of the things. You can figure it out. The question is, who is going to be the one to reveal it to you in a way that you will then fulfill the mitzvah instead of feeling annoyed and resentful, etc. So you have to ask Hashem, I want to live according to the Torah. That's the week of Malchus. And examining our behavior. Now we're entering from Malchus, we enter into Shavuos. That means that the teaching that says in the Gemara says, the ha'ikar hu ha'ma'aseh, or ha'ma'aseh hu ha'ikar. Action, to translate that into a colloquial American or British English, action speaks louder than words. Now, not always, but actions count. You can have the most amazing intention to give charity or to be nice or to be cooperative or to, cook for someone who just had a baby. You can have the greatest intentions, but if you don't actualize it, so you actually get credit for it. In Halacha, we're told that a Jew who wants to do a mitzvah, and if for some reason it's prevented, but if they had intention to do a mitzvah, then yes, they get credit for the mitzvah. But the actual person you were supposed to feed is still hungry. So actions are so, so important. Okay, now that's important for me to say because I'm a very person in my head a lot. So actions count. So therefore, I want to show to you, I want to learn with you now a little bit of Tehillim, because we have to actually do our Tehillim. And I want to learn with you the Tehillim, a little bit of the Tehillim. Oh, a little bit. Did we do 90 David Moshe Rabbeinu's Tehillim? Did we do 90 Tefillah Moshe Shalakim yet? Did we do that? Did we do Tzadik Dalit? Did we do Tzadik or Tzadik Dalit? Tzadik Dalit I know we did not do.
We haven't done Sadi either, unless you did it when I wasn't with you, but I would have had some of it. No, we did Sadi Aleph. We've done Sadiq Aleph, we've done Sadiq.
Okay, so let's do Sadiq.
Sadiq Base we've done, and Sadiq, 3. So which one are we going to?
We're going to do Sadiq then. That's the first one in the group that Moshe Rabbeinu wrote. So you know that Shavuos is the convergence of Moshe Rabbeinu and David HaMelech, right? Why? Because Shavuos, Moshe Rabbeinu gave us the Torah on Har Sinai. And Shavuos, David HaMelech is his birthday and his yard site. So it's a confluence, it's a connection between these two great leaders, Moshe Rabbeinu and David HaMelech, on Shavuos. So David HaMelech included 11 of the chapters of Tehillim that Moshe Rabbeinu wrote. Moshe Rabbeinu wrote from chapter 90 until chapter 100 inclusive, and we've done a few of them. We did 100, Mizmor L'Toza, we've done the Shabbos when we did the protection one. Now we're going to do the first one in that series. That's called Tefillah the Moshe Ish Elokim. This is a prayer that was written by Moshe. You want to tell him? Would you want one?
Okay, no. I'm listening.
Okay, so what do you want to see inside? I have another one here. You know what? I'll let you do this one. I'll let you look at this one. This one actually has
An English one. What
This has
side?
an English translation. This is my Tikkun HaKlali, and this Tehillim is in Tikkun HaKlali,
Which number?
90.
Thank you.
Okay, so Tefillah the Moshe. What does it mean that Moshe Rabbeinu wrote 11 chapters of Tehillim? We thought that King David wrote all of Tehillim, right? So now you have to remember the first Rashi in Tehillim that says 10 people contributed to Tehillim. It was all given on the credit of, you're the host now, good. It was all given the credit of David HaMelech, because David HaMelech collected them all, he edited them all, he actually experienced them all. In order for David HaMelech to feel that this is his sefer, he actually was able to go into the mindset of each one of the people who wrote Tehillim and to actually experience what they experienced. You have to be a very, very seasoned meditator to be able to do that. And David HaMelech was able to do that. So here he included I
muted you. I muted you.
Yeah.
I got the host, and that was it. Now I've got to learn how not to do that. Okay, I'm done. I've had my lesson. I'm learning.
That's okay. When you muted me, it tells me that you muted me and I unmuted myself. So that's what happens when you have power. You start to unmute, start to mute people. I had that discussion today. One of my students, her husband is very big in AI, artificial intelligence. And I had a whole discussion with him about this morning, early in the morning for me and late at night for them, about the dangers. I said, I'm praying for you because AI could be the most amazing thing, and it could be the most dangerous thing that ever happened to planet Earth, including more dangerous than nuclear weapons, because nuclear weapons everybody understands the danger of, but AI is a much more sinister, hidden danger. Okay, we're not going to talk about that. Tefillah Moshe, this is a prayer written by Moshe Rabbeinu. Ish HaElokim. Ish HaElokim means he was a man, but he was godlike. Now, don't mistake here. Moshe Rabbeinu was a man, born of a woman, normal, died, lived, had a wife, had kids, but he was the most advanced human in all the species that ever lived and that ever will live until Mashiach comes. When Mashiach comes, he will be of the same caliber as Moshe Rabbeinu. He will have the soul of Adam Harishon, David HaMelech, Moshe Rabbeinu, Mashiach himself. Mashiach ben David will have the soul of all of these people. Actually, all of these people, Adam Harishon, David HaMelech, Moshe Rabbeinu, all of them were Mashiachim. They were all Mashiachs. So, but this is the description that David HaMelech gives to Moshe Rabbeinu. Who wrote this? The first introductory words, David HaMelech wrote. And he says, Moshe Rabbeinu was Ish HaElokim. Hashem ma'on ata hayita lanu b'dor b'dor. Hashem, you have been our protection forever and ever. Here in Eretz Yisrael, I was just by the storm, so I had to pick up a sefer. And, just like when you go to Osher Ad, when you go to the Jewish, were you in Osher Ad? When you go to Osher Ad, today you were there?
No, I'm going.
You're going. So you'll see when you walk into the Jewish supermarket, I don't know how this is in the UK. It was not like this in America when I lived there. When you go into Osher Ad, which is the Israeli giant supermarket chain, the first thing you see is that they rearrange the store every few weeks to promote the upcoming holiday. So, for example, when it was Pesach, so already as soon as Purim was over, they brought out all the Pesach products, and they brought out the pots, the new pots, and they brought out the toaster ovens, and they brought out all of the things that you might need for Pesach. As soon as Pesach was over, they brought out the Lag BaOmer stuff, because on Lag BaOmer, everybody makes barbecues, and also Lag BaOmer is close to Yom HaAtzmaut, when everybody also makes barbecues, so all the barbecue stuff was out. And then, now that Lag BaOmer and Yom HaAtzmaut are over, and Shavuos is coming, they bring out the dairy. So the whole Osher Ad, when you walk in the Har Nof, I don't know what it's like in Beit Shemesh, but you walk in and the entire in front of the store, they rearrange the store, they bring in all the freezers and the fridges from wherever, and they put them in the front so that when you walk in, you remember, it's Shavuos, and I have to get the milchiks. And in fact, it's so cute because they show you all the different recipes in the front of the store, meaning there's all the different kinds of cheeses, and then there's the pastas, and then there's the raviolis that are already made, and then they have the pie shells, the pie crust pre-baked already that you should remember to make a cheesecake, and then they have the crackers that we make cheesecake with. In other words, you walk down the first aisle as soon as you walk in, and you see what's going on in the world. Now, the same thing happens in Sfarim stores. When you walk into a Sfarim store now, what do you see? You see all the Shavuos machzorim, and you see Tikkun Leil Shavuos, the people, the learning for Shavuos, but they also have in front of all the Sfarim stores the Shar HaBitachon of the Chovos HaLevavos, because we're in a time now where we just finished a war, a little bit of a miniature war, and things are not so clear about what's going to be. Actually tomorrow was Yom Yerushalayim, but today they're celebrating it, and they have a flag parade, and there's a tremendous amount of security. Did you see any security when did you go into town?
No, I came from.
You came from the other side.
direction.
So there's a huge amount of security today, tomorrow. The Israeli government sent messages through Egypt saying, if you disturb us today, we're blowing up Gaza. They didn't really say that, but they should have. But they didn't say that. They just said, we'll get you back, whatever. So in the farm stores, they're telling us what avoda we need to do. In the grocery stores, they're telling you what food you need to make. And in the Jewish bookstores, the Judaica stores, they're telling you what books you need to buy. You need to buy the special siddur for Shavuos. You need to buy the special learning for Shavuos. And you need to buy the book called Duties of the Heart, section called Trusting Hashem, the Gate of Trust, because we need to learn that now. And as you all know, I never usually send out statuses and stuff like that. But the Anuka said that until further notice, everyone should add 3 chapters of Tehillim to their daily, chapter 37, chapter 83, and chapter 144. Again, Lamed Zayin 37, Pei Gimel 83, and Kuf Mem Daled 144. Until further notice, he's asking everybody to add those 3 chapters of Tehillim daily. Now, he doesn't ever make those kind of requests. As you know, the bigger the tzaddik, the fewer requests they make from people and certainly from the nation. But clearly there's stuff that we need protection from. And so here, Moshe Rabbeinu, who is the greatest of all understandings of God, said, the first thing he says is, Hashem, you're protecting us. You're our ma'on. You know what a ma'on is in Israeli Hebrew? It's a daycare center. That's what you were there. It's a protective, protective living quarters. That's called a ma'on. Like older people, when they go to a nursing home, that's also sometimes called a ma'on. And the little kids, when they go to daycare, that's called a ma'on. And Moshe Rabbeinu says, Hashem, you are our ma'on. You're taking care of us. You're protecting us. B'terem hayu yuladu, before the mountains were born. It's very poetic. It means before the creation of the world. V'techolel eretz v'tevel, and before you even formed the world and the universe. Ume'olam ad olam, from before time, because me'olam ad olam means from before time. Ata kel, you are our loving, protective God. This Perek Tzadik and Perek Tzadik Aleph are called, just like the other Prakim I just told you, but they're also called the Prakim of protection. Because here, the Medrash tells us that Moshe Rabbeinu, when did he say these chapters of Tehillim? He said them next week, meaning when he was going on Har Sinai to receive the Torah, when he went up to Har Sinai to receive the Torah, he didn't just go to Har Sinai, he went up to Shamayim, he went up to heaven. He went into the highest levels of existence, where Hashem is, where the angels are. And the angels knew why he was coming. And they said to Hashem, do not give him the Torah. Don't release the Torah to humanity. Why? Because humanity is going to make fun of it, going to ignore you, Hashem. They're going to pervert the Torah, corrupt the Torah, make all kinds of new religions based on the Torah. Don't give it to humanity. And they scared Moshe Rabbeinu. Now, what does that mean that they scared him? It says that Moshe Rabbeinu was so frightened that he clung on to the Kisei HaKavod, to the throne of Hashem. He held on to it. He was so frightened by those angels. And so Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu, they have a good complaint, or they have a good an argument. So what do you say? So Moshe Rabbeinu said to Hashem, if I say it, will they eat me up? Like, will they destroy me? And Hashem said, no, you're holding on to the Kisei HaKavod. Say what you have to say. So Moshe Rabbeinu said to them, do you have father and mother that you have to honor? Do you have a Yetzer Hara that you have to overcome? And of course, the answer was no. So we have that. So we can actually fulfill the Torah. Now, what does that mean? Don't the angels know that that they can't fulfill the Torah? They know that. The angels know everything. Of course they know that. But they also know that they know how to fulfill the Torah in the heavenly state, in a different type of a reality, in a different type of a world, in a different dimension. We don't know what that means. We don't know, for example, just like we don't know, why can't I wear shatnez, wool and linen? Why do I have to take how do I do shiluch hakan? I shoo away the mother bird. Why do I have to eat kosher? What's wrong with milchiks and fleishiks? We just do that. But there's a spiritual root of each of these. And the angel said, we know how to keep the Torah in its spiritual roots without lowering it to the world of Asiyah, this world of physicality. And Moshe Rabbeinu said, but Hashem loves the world of physicality. That's the idea of Malchus. We think that we're doing the lowest of the low, which changing babies' diapers, and we're shopping and we're cooking and we're cleaning. We think that that's so mundane, and the kings and the queens don't do that. And Hashem says, yeah, but I love that. Hashem has a different system of love and of importance than we do. Hashem values things differently than we do. And Hashem says, you don't realize, I know how tough it is to stay spiritually connected to God while you're washing dishes. I know how hard that is. So when you can do that, it's actually more pleasing to me, says God, than the angels. And when they're connecting to God in their level of whatever washing dishes means to them heavenly, but it's not as meaningful, it's not as valuable to me, says Hashem, as when a human being connects to God while they're doing their mundane tasks. And that, by the way, is what Malchus is all about. Malchus means making God the Melech in your life, in your mundane life, in your regular life. Now, you might be the principal of a school, and all day long you're doing incredible things. But for you, perhaps, that's your mundane life. Or you might be the president of the United States, or you might be the head of a hospital, and your actual mundane life is saving people and helping people. And that might be very, very meaningful. But that's still a mundane life, and it's the same parallel as a mother at home with her kids, and she's raising them. You know, we have no clue. I know that it's like very not, I don't know if it's necessarily empowering, but you should just know this in your brain. We have no clue the greatness of a person who raises a Jewish home. We have no clue the greatness of a woman who's raising kids, and she's trying to work on her own midot, on her own character traits, and she's trying to be loving and patient and understanding and accepting, and she's raising healthy kids. We have no idea how powerful that is. In olden days, a woman wouldn't get married until age, 17, 18, but until that time, what were they doing? They were working on their middos. They had a mother saying to her, stop being so angry, stop being so jealous. In olden days, the parents had no PC, they had no psychological training. They would just tell you straight, stop yelling at your sister. She's your sister. You have to get along with her. And there's and that was how people cultivated good character traits, because character traits means you have to just try harder to be a nicer person. There's no kunst, there's no shortcuts in becoming a nicer person. You just have to work hard at squelching your anger, repressing your jealousy, putting everything into perspective, remembering that Hashem is in charge always. Hashem is in charge. If Hashem wanted me to have her house, he would have given me her house. If Hashem wanted me to have her figure, he would have given me her figure. So Hashem clearly doesn't want that. And so therefore, I'm going to just work with what it is that I have and not what it is that I don't have. The Gemara says that when you try to take something that's not yours, you lose what you try to take and you lose what's actually yours. So don't look at somebody else's, you look at your own. And that's called Malchus. That's called the upcoming week of working on your midos. And by the way, expect, I'm not going to sugarcoat this, expect this upcoming week perhaps to be challenging, because Hashem wants us to enter into Shavuos with as much merit as we can. And therefore he might, I'm not saying he will, but he might throw at each person a lot of tests, and you have to overcome the tests and overcome the challenges and keep reminding yourself, it's just a test. It's just an exercise for me. Hashem is allowing me, he's mezaken me, he's enabling me to have the merit of this upcoming, whatever it is that I'm going to achieve, even though I'm gritting my teeth and holding my hands and taking deep breaths, but I'm going to be nice, I'm going to be polite, I'm going to be caring, I'm going to be considerate, and I'm going to be mevater. I'm going to also give of myself and bend and, stretch my comfort zone, etc., etc. Hashem, so Moshe Rabbeinu is saying to us that this idea that Hashem is with us was before the creation of us, before the creation of anything. Hashem was reigning in the world, and he wanted us, he wanted to create us. Now, what does Hashem do? Sometimes Hashem puts people into very, very difficult situations. Why? Because he wants them to do teshuvah. Now, what does it mean to do teshuvah? It doesn't mean, I'm sorry, Hashem, I'm sorry, Hashem. It means I want to lift myself up to a good place. I want to be a better person. Now, there are two ways that happens, ladies. And these two ways I learned about, I don't know, maybe 30 years ago, when we had the first time the kids had a game called Pac-Man. You know Pac-Man? Okay, I don't really remember Pac-Man, if it was Pac-Man, if it was the thing with the monkeys, gorilla something. I'm not a big, media person, but years and years ago, there were these, when video games first came out, what was that called? That with the gorilla, with the monkey, I forgot what it was called. Doesn't matter. There was,
I think Pac-Man was it, wasn't he the little one with just the
Yeah.
face and the mouth?
yeah. And then there was another game with
Donkey Kong? Donkey Kong?
Yeah, that's it. Donkey Kong, Monkey Kong, Donkey Kong, something like that. It sounds familiar. Whatever it is, I held by what the Lubavitch Rebbe taught, and that is every invention comes into this world to teach us something godly. The Chavetz Chaim said that when it came to telephones and telegraphs and whatever communication, and whatever, very, very primitive communication they had 100 years ago. And he said, every new invention comes to teach us a new lesson in serving Hashem. It happens to be that it's convenient also, but the idea is to serve Hashem. So when I saw this game, these video games, and I remember they used to come in like these little, you got like a little, you bought a video game, I think. You bought a thing, and it had one game on it. Now people buy, I don't even know if they have video games anymore. But now if they have millions of games on one unit or whatever it is. Kids are very, very, people, not just children, people are very, very addicted to video games. There was one man from Japan, I think, who actually died because he was playing this video game, I think, for 24 hours straight, and he couldn't pause it, because if you pause it, something, I don't know, it doesn't, you lose your points, or it's just that's where you stop, whatever it is. And he actually died because he didn't eat or drink or go to the bathroom for 24 hours, and he was just on his computer, playing this game, and then he just, at the computer, dropped dead. Some people, they had such a thing. In this video game that I saw all those decades ago, there was two ways to earn points. The one way is you just keep going, you just keep going, you're walking along that path of whatever it was, and every step you took, you got 2 points, 2 points, 2 points, 2 points. That's how it works. You earn points by just walking and not doing anything specific, and each step gives you a few points. Now, the second way to earn points is if you step on a bomb, or if you step on something big, and then you avoid a big pitfall, and then you earn a lot of points. So there's daily, or there's like the big amount of points that you earn all at once, and that is usually by avoiding a catastrophe or overcoming a challenge in the game. So when I saw that, I said, okay, now I understand. Hashem is showing us there's two ways to fix your midos. One is just daily life, every day, going through life with the consciousness of, I have to be nice to my neighbor, I have to be nice to the kids, just going through regular life, but with a consciousness, with an awareness. Put it on your refrigerator. Hashem is here. Hashem is watching. Hashem is with me, no matter what. That's one consciousness. It's the daily grind of life. And every day you improve a little bit. And then there's the big amounts, there's the big points when you get, 100 points at a time. If you have a challenge, if you have a difficulty, if you either avoided a challenge or if you overcome a challenge, then you get the big points. And that makes major roshan, a major impression on your soul and on yourself and on your personality. So here the pasuk is saying Hashem is going to pull humanity down to the bottom. Dakar means the lowest place. And then he's going to say, okay, now that you're here, expand, be better. Today there was a very cute, I shouldn't call him cute. He's a wonderful rabbi. He only speaks a very fast Hebrew. His name is Ravid, I forgot his last name. Nagar. Ravid Nagar, real Israeli name. You never heard that name Ravid before. R-A-V-I-D, Reish Bet Yud, Reish Bet Ravid, Reish Bet, how does he spell it? Ravid, I think Reish Bet Yud Bet. I don't even know what, I never heard that name before. His last name Nagar. And he has his teaching is called Or Lanar. Yeah, Or Lanar. Anyway, he told an amazing story. He says, it says in a certain sefer that Mashiach should have come in 1977. And so in 1977, one of the big tzaddikim, they were waiting and nothing happened. So one of the big tzaddikim went to the Rebbe Meir Abu Chatzera, who was the son of the Baba Sali, and he brought him the sefer, and he showed him, he says, you see, it says in the sefer, Tavshin Chavav, I think that was the name in Hebrew, 1977, Mashiach was supposed to come. And that's now, and it didn't happen. So Reb Meir Abu Chatzera said the following. He said, I know, and Mashiach came to me, and I know who he is, and I asked him to delay because we need more Baalei Tshuva. Because if he would have come then, Mashiach would have come in it would have been with a lot of death to the world, and a lot of neshamas wouldn't have made it, a lot of souls would not have made it. So I asked him to wait a little bit so that we can get more Baalei Tshuva. Since then, Rav Ravid said there were 1 million Baalei Tshuva. I don't know where he got that number from, but he's involved in the Baal Tshuva movement. Doesn't mean a Baal Tshuva who puts on a hat and jacket and starts wearing a long coat. It means a person who's recommitted to basic Judaism. 1 million Jews, he said, since then became Baalei Tshuva. So now, he said Reb Meir Abu Chatzera, I don't think he's with us anymore. But they asked, whoever they asked, this he didn't say which tzaddik they asked because it's current. And he said, now Mashiach will come any second. You know why? Because this condition has already been fulfilled. And even though you have many Jews who are not yet, quote unquote, Baal Shuvas, but the second a war starts, everybody becomes a Baal Shuva here in Israel. And it's true, we just had last week. The second anything happens, everybody starts calling out to God, and they might not know, but they, in their heart, they return back to God. They say, Hashem, I'm sorry. You see this all the time with all of these Israelis, and they go to these lectures and they go with ponytails. The boys go with ponytails and the girls go with shaved heads and tens of ear and tattoos and earrings. And they're sitting, and all of a sudden, in a second, they start to cry and they say, okay, you're right. They'll say to the rabbi, you're right. What should I do now? And that's how Israelis are. Why is it that Israelis are like that? Because Eretz Yisrael has that power. Living here, even living a secular life, chas v'shalom, nobody lives secular, but even it has the power to soften the soul. So Hashem sometimes brings us down to ad daka, to the lowest. Then he says, you can come back to me from that place, and I accept that place. The Rebbe Shimon Bar Yochai, it was last week's his big day. He said, even if a person, their whole life is bad, if on their deathbed, when they have no more Yetzer Hara even, but they really regret, then Hashem forgives them. So much is the love that God has for humanity. Let's do one more pasuk. This is an annoying pasuk. When I say annoying, I mean I wish that we had captured this pasuk. Moshe Rabbeinu is saying, Hashem, in your eyes, in Hashem's eyes, 1,000 human years is like one day. That passes. And it like a passing in the night. So this is where it comes, the measure tells us, the Gemara tells us, that when it says 1,000 years, 1,000 human years is like one day in Hashem, that's when we know that this world will last 6,000 years. Because Hashem made 6 days of creation, right? 6 days of creation, Sheshis Yamim Tavo, 6 days we work, right? So 6 days of creation, whatever that means. We don't know what that means. But we know that it's called in Chumash 6 days of creation. And each day, the Tehillim says, is like 1,000 years. So we know that the world will last in the present state of physicality up until the year 6000. We're in the year 5783, and the world will last in a physical state until the year 6000. By the year 6000, the following things have to happen. Mashiach ben Yosef has to come. Mashiach ben David has to come. Beis HaMikdash has to be rebuilt. The whole world has to acknowledge God. Tchias HaMesim has to happen. And all that takes time. In fact, as you know, there's one reading in the Zohar HaKadosh that says that Tchias HaMesim takes 210 years from beginning to end. However that is, we are literally at the last minute here. This is the last Shemitah cycle. This Shemitah cycle that we're in now is the last possible Shemitah cycle to happen in order for that Zohar to be true. So the problem with this pasuk is that Hashem, it takes such a long time in our eyes. Hashem, 1,000 years is like a day. Our 1,000 years to us is a schlepped out time. And Hashem says, it's nothing, it's like a day. So the idea here is that, like today, what do we say? How many years ago, 50, 70, how many years ago was Yom Yerushalayim? Tomorrow's Yom Yerushalayim. 50, it was 1967. No, 1967. So how much is years? 56 years, I forgot. It's all over the newspapers how many years we're here. However many years, 50 something years. And we're historically, in terms of history, it's a very short amount of time. In terms of a person's life, it's such a long time that we have Yerushalayim HaKodesh and we have not yet built the Beis HaMikdash. We should have built the Beis HaMikdash right away. We were allowed to build the Beis HaMikdash, but sadly, the Israeli government didn't want that. They were afraid. They said, you can't, if you start building a Beis HaMikdash, I don't want to say bad on anybody, but they were afraid because if you build a Beis HaMikdash, or at least if you have the Har HaBayit and you take off the stuff from the Har HaBayit and you make it ready, so they were afraid of an even stronger Baal Tshuva movement. You know that 1967, 68, 69, and 70, that's when the Baal Tshuva movement became very, very strong here. And that's why in 77, when they were expecting Mashiach to come, because they thought, okay, we did the Baal Tshuva movement. Everybody's like in the height of in the passion of the Baal Tshuva movement was 77. They were expecting any second. Okay, seemingly all the people who were born after that, or all the neshamas that became, Choser B'Tshuva, we needed that. It would be interesting to see who was born in 1977, 76, 77, 78. Be interesting to see who was born then, which neshamas were born since then. But anyway, what he's saying here is be patient. Is talking about patience. And it's talking about Hashem is in charge. Thank you, Hashem, that you're in charge. Yeah, your husband was born then, Haley? That's interesting. So he was born in that generation where, tell him, maybe Mashiach came for him. Mashiach delayed for him because he was born then. Okay, ladies, I want to read to you. I want to do the following. In addition to, I haven't done this yet with any of my classes, and I'm saving it for you. This is a special treat. It's going to take me a long time to do this, but every day, every class, I want to read to you from this little tiny sefer. You see it? Okay. This little tiny, it's a pamphlet. It's a little tiny sefer. This little tiny sefer is called 22 Chavbet Klalim V'Ikarim, the 22 general rules that the Yanuka says we should try to meditate on every single day. Every day, every time we have a lesson, believe that, you'll remind me, and I'll read you one. So that, and you write it down, so that you write it down in a separate place altogether. I don't know if I can get you these. I could try. I can't give you mine because I only have one, but, and you can't reprint it because it's under the reprint copyright. I can ask them if they would, if I can make all these, copies of this, but it really has to be translated into English. It's only in Hebrew, and till they I could try, but let's learn it together. So make a separate place in your notebook, because I don't want you to have to look back and say, where did I put it? Did I put it in this pair? I'm gonna ask you to write a list and keep it in one place. You can decorate, you can make it beautiful. You can, I don't know, maybe we can have in 3 months from now, an art, a chug. But I'm going to read to you you can, I don't have paper. Okay, so here you can go. Let's see where I have paper. 1 second, I'll give you a piece of paper.
Give me a shopping list. Or...
I don't have a shopping list. 1 second. Okay, I'm gonna.
Or is that's your?
You know what? You can. That's my Nishmas people. Go into my study.
There.
Yeah, you can go in there. In that bookcase right next to the door, on the very bottom. No, the other no.
Yeah.
That one. Bottom shelf. You see little notebooks, spiral notebooks, little tiny notebooks. Take one, and you can take a piece of paper out of there. See the little ones? Yeah. Okay, good. Okay. The first is very short. The first one is very short, but these are 22 ideas that a person should every single day think about. Now, listen, that sounds like it's like reinventing the wheel, but when Tzaddik tells you that in this generation, these are ideas that you should focus on, and you'll see what they are soon, it means that these are, for our generation, very, very crucial because we are weak in them. The first one is something that you know very easily. I'll read the Hebrew. If you can write it in Hebrew, you should. If you can't, I'll translate the English. The first word is lada'at, to know. Lada'at, to know. She'ein shum mitziut, there's no existence, mibaladei Hashem yitbarach, other than God. May he be blessed. Again, a person should know lada'at, a person should know. She'ein, that there's no shum mitziut, there's no existence at all, mibaladei, except Hashem yitbarach, God, may he be blessed. Meditate on that. There's nothing that exists other than God. So you say, well, what about me? What about my house? What about the world? Well, no, all of that is called relative existence. Relative existence means it's created. Hashem created it, but it doesn't have any inherent existence of its own. It has no independent existence. Only Hashem has independent existence, and only Hashem will be eternal. Only Hashem exists, and we exist because Hashem exists, and we exist as a ray of Hashem's existence, and our being exists because of the goodness of God and of the compassion of God, but otherwise we don't exist. And if Hashem wanted us in 1 second, we wouldn't exist. So only Hashem exists. That's the first klal. That's the first rule. Think about that until the next time we meet. We try to read all of these every single day. Maybe I'll try to get some for you. I don't know if I can.
I'd have taken them home.
Yeah, well, I'm not
Yes,
going to have it
yes.
before you leave. That's for sure. And then it has to be translated into English. And all right, my sweeties.
Well, we can do another work. We started with the psukim. Now we can move on to the
but the
22 meditations.
But listen, the psukim, he didn't
Right.
put in the thing. Now, of course, everybody's saying those psukim. You were the first group to ever learn those psukim. Now everybody says those psukim. Now, when you say the 4 psukim, everyone knows what you're talking about in the world. But this is the people who publish his books, which he has nothing to do with any of this stuff. But the people who publish his books, they take it off of the Tehillim. The people who publish his books, they published this as a little pamphlet, and they made it. And they're going to make it into a book, so I can't. But I can buy it from them for sure. I can if they have copies. I can do that. Ginny, what did you mean by the name? What name did you ask for? I didn't remember. I didn't get it when you said the end. You sent a note.
You're muted.
No, just the
the name of the pamphlet. So you said the
Yeah.
Hofet Ikarim
22 Klalim V'Ikarim.
Klalim. Oh, I didn't hear. Okay, Klalim. Okay, thank you.
Alphabet, Klalim V'Ikarim. 22 rules and basic thoughts. Basic thoughts.
Not bad anyway.
No, you can't buy it anywhere. You can't get it anywhere. Maybe I can ask them to make them for me. I'll listen to. I can ask them how to do that. I want to start giving them edits, but they have to write it in English. They're gonna have to translate into French, into Spanish.
How many of us are
You can
learning?
start with English first.
Yeah.
How many are learning it?
Start in the Hebrew and then
Well, the Hebrew is there, so we just need them to translate first into English.
Silber,
No, but
the Yanuka has somebody who translates everything to English. His name is Dick, Rabbi Dick, and lives in Karanoff. He
listen,
was originally from Canada.
a lot of people translate for him.
Right.
There's a huge group that translates, not just Rav Dick, but a huge group that translates for him.
Right.
And Baruch Hashem, and you know, there's a lot to translate. There's a lot of projects that are going on right now. A lot of projects.
Can I ask you another question, please?
Yeah.
Is the letter Sadiq or Tzadi?
Okay, so there's a machlokas how you say it. That's a good question. We say tzaddik with a kuf, but there's an opinion that says you say tzaddik. So, and that opinion that says you say tzaddik is because the next letter is kuf in the alphabet. So when you said the alphabet, you say tzaddik kuf.
Yeah.
But it was tzaddik and kuf. So there's both. You say both. You can say either one, but we say tzaddik with the kuf.
Okay. And thank you very much. Good Shabbos. Thank you, Kotzer.
Shabbos, everybody. Good Shabbos.
Appreciate it.
And a good Shavuos. You should have.
Good Shabbos and a good Shavuos.
Most
So,
glorious-
Emir Hashem, we are 2 weeks, yeah?
Oh my, you want me to, let me look. I think so.
That's the 1st of May.
I don't do, I have to look at my,
June.
I have to look at my, yeah, June 1, yeah, June 1.
Sorry, the 1st of June, thank you. Oh, gosh. Sounds much better, the 1st of May.
No, because then the Rebbetzin
Sivan
is coming in
Yud
June.
Yeah, yeah,
That just makes it very soon. Okay, that's very exciting.
second. Shavuos. Yeah,
Can I tell people to maybe make arrangements for London
what does that mean?
for the week, for 2 weeks later?
Yeah, you can
Okay.
start telling people, it's not a secret anymore.
Okay, no secret, ladies. Anybody that wants to join us in London, Be'ezras Hashem, Rebbetzin Silber. We hope for Mashiach before, but otherwise Rebbetzin Silber will be joining us, and she will be here teaching, learning. That is the Monday, 12th, 13th, and 14th, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, of which one of the days we are hoping to create into a spiritual spa, probably going to be Tuesday, Wednesday. And we have a super venue for meditation. So, Be'ezras Hashem.
Meetings, if anybody wants a meeting, you'll schedule a
And
meeting.
private meetings we'll be scheduling as well over the 3 days. So feel free to be in touch, and Emet Hashem. We will bring extra learning, Torah, and our own connection closer, having Rebbetzin Silber here.
Bezrat Hashem, Bezrat Hashem.
Okay. Okay.
Miriam said, I'm going to tell her, I have to decide if I'm going to talk about Eretz Yisrael.
Me, Marcel said, I said,
Marcel.
the results coming, I can see it coming.
We'll see. We'll see. Okay. Good Shabbos, everybody. Good Yontif. Have a wonderful receiving of the Torah. May your
Amen.
receiving of the Torah, may you and your children and your grandchildren, all your generations, your receiving of the Torah should be sweet and
Amen.
powerful and long lasting and expand that recognition.
Amen.
Shabbos, good Shabbos, Shabbos.
Good Shabbos, everyone. Good Shabbos. Good
Shalom,
Shabbos.
thank you.
Good Shabbos. Thank you very much.
Very well.
Thank you, Rebbetzin.
Welcome. Steve.
Simchas and Chaim Aruchim and Emet Hashem. It should be a big schus for.
I thought you were asleep.
It should just be a big schus for
Girl.
all in all sides.
Amen.
Is about mitzvah girl there? No?
Yeah, Tamima, come here a sec.
Let me wish her mazel tov.
Come get a mazel tov from my teacher. Hey.
Hi, Tamima. Mazel tov, mazel tov. Happy birthday, mazel tov. You should have the best life on every level, physically and emotionally and spiritually and biologically and intellectually and
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. And bracha from all of her students. Ezras Hashem bli neder, we're going to get a tambourine made tmima, yeah?
Oh,
Tmima, okay. Bli neder, we'll get a Eretz Yisrael for you.
oh, you're so sweet.
Oh, wow. Kol hakavod, kol hakavod. Good Shabbos, mazel tov.
Okay, good Shabbos and
Good
mazel tov,
Shabbos.
mazel tov, mazel tov.
Rosh Hashanah. Keep hold down the fort in South Africa. And no, let me
And
know
keep the electricity going.
why they don't have electricity in South Africa.
South
Thank you
Africa,
so much.
my friend just said that they're 8 hours a day at the moment of load shedding if you don't have your generator.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Ezras Hashem will be going on the eagle's wings soon.
Can be quicker than us.
Come to Eretz Yisrael.
Okay, good Shabbos, everybody.